Hello, everybody. You're 1781987. I have come back because I want to play Pokemon Sword in anticipation of the DLC that has recently come out for this game. So I'm going to actually play through the entire game again. This will be the third time I've played through the game. So I am looking forward to it, and today we're going to start from the very beginning, set with no autosave, nicknames. We're doing the set to kind of make it a little harder, and we're going to be skipping through a lot. This is going to be pretty edited, so this first episode is actually about 3 hours of game time, but it will be much shorter on your end, of course. So join me as we walk into this today. So I chose Scorbunny as my starter this time. I've chose the other two as starters before. He's personally my favorite, the little blue one. But I hadn't tried Scorbunny, so first rival battle with Scorbunny, which by the way I have named Kiku. I guess you could say Kiku, I guess however you first say it. Kiku, and Kiku had a special attack benefiting nature, which is good. So this first battle, of course, the very first rival battle with what am I blanking on his name now? Why am I blanking on his name now? I'm stupid, I'll put it on the screen. Okay. So yeah, we're fighting our first rival battle. Pretty straightforward, especially since he picked the weaker type. And I even got a crit, so that's pretty nice. So yeah, that was an easy battle. So we're going to skip forward a bit. I've skipped a lot of story at the beginning. I took a picture of that. I skipped a lot of story at the beginning because it's really heavy on story and the introduction is really long. So I didn't want to waste your time and my time. I always start off by buying potions, antidotes, awakenings, and paralyze heals because I'm definitely going to need them. Because it's just going to get harder from here. Of course, this is with the relative difficulty of Pokemon Sword anyway. So we've gotten our items, and now we are ready to, well, no, I'm not moving on just yet. I forgot I need to get berries. I typically get about 10 berries, so that you could use them in battles and stuff. I don't get the cherry and pecha berries, so I just wanted the orange berries. And then now watch this, we're gonna go back here, and I'm gonna get this Pokédoll. That's for free. And this guy has some nice Wooloos. Check out this magic. Just like that. Boom! New outfit. Okay, so we have moved on to Route 2. Like I said before, we skipped a lot of important dialogue. This is definitely not a playthrough to watch if you've never watched Pokemon Sword. In fact, if you've never played the game, I would highly recommend you stop watching now. But here is our very first trainer battle. This school trainer. Your youngster Jake, my mistake. And he just has a Skwovet. I respect Skwovet. Skwovet is pretty bulky, despite being a small squirrel. So, starting off, we want to get Kiku as high level as we can. After all, when you have a starter like this that's more offensive, like more attack oriented, you gotta be careful because, and I've learned this from experience now, Kiku, or Scorbunny if you prefer, is rather frail, and so it doesn't take hits as well as it should. Sure, its HP and defense is substantial enough to get it through, but compared to the other starters, it's just not as durable. I have to say, out of all of the Galarian starters, I don't know, I played with the other two. I was totally unimpressed with the grass type one. Just didn't like it at all. No offense, but yeah, it's just not my cup of tea. And so, there's our first battle. Nice and simple. Of course, it'll just progressively ramp up from here. It is also a pleasure to be able to record this from my capture card onto the computer. I was not previously able to do this and show you Switch gameplay, so that was pretty exciting. We're going to try to get our first catch here. And I decided to go with a Rookidee this time because I've never gotten Rookidee in its evolutions in my previous two gameplays. I probably should have mentioned that. I've played through Sword already in the past. Oh, I avoided that Rookidee because I prefer female Pokemon. That's just a thing I do. So we're looking for more Rookidees. But as I was saying before, I played through Pokemon Sword already once. And I played through Shield, which in many ways is very similar, but I don't like the Pokemon that are available in it as much. So, in preparation for this DLC event, I have decided to play through Sword again. And then we skipped over that Rookidee because it was male. Like I said, I really want a female Rookidee. And you know, the reason I do the female ones is because if I ever breed them in the future, you will want one that is of the same that will be able to breed of the same species, and only females can do that. Unless you had a Ditto. But I don't particularly want to catch a Ditto either. So yeah, we're just hunting down a Rookidee. It's always a smart idea to have a partner Pokemon. Here's one right here. A partner Pokemon to use along with your starter. Because if you just do it with just your starter in the beginning, it can be really tough. Especially for a Pokemon like Scorbunny, which doesn't have the best defenses in the world. So we did find a female Rookidee. This really surprised me that it had Power Trip. I was like, really? It has Power Trip? If you are not aware, Power Trip is a Dark type move with base power of 20 and an accuracy of 100. Every time that the Pokemon raises its stats with any kind of stat raising move, the power of Power Trip will increase. So, in other words, the more that this Rookidee raises its stats, the more powerful Power Trip will be. And it just so happens to learn a stat raising move pretty quickly. So, it actually is a pretty good strategy, and you'll definitely see me using it. So, here is our first capture. Pretty exciting. Kiku got a level up just from catching. As you can see, look quickly at these stats. Special attack and speed, but the defenses 10, 11, well now 11 and 12 defenses. That's pretty low, even for a level 8 starter. So I am not exaggerating when I say I was definitely anticipating Kiku's evolution into its next form. So it did learn Quick Attack. And here's Rookidee's description. It will Oh, well, I didn't. Never mind. Okay, so I named this Rookidee after a particular character that's a warrior in a particular game. If you know who Savory is, then you're pretty cool. So we have Savory, the Rookidee, and let's check her out really quickly. She has a special attack raising nature that lowers special defense with Unnerve. So if with Unnerve, the other enemy Pokemon can't eat berries, which sometimes is useful, especially with like gym leaders. So we got Savory. I'm gonna walk back to the Pokemon Center. I think I made a cut here. Walk back to the yes. So I healed at the Pokemon Center, so you didn't have to see me go all the way back there. So this will be Savory's first battle. We need to get her leveled up so that I can use her. And we have a Choodle. I did think about getting Choodle because I know its evolution is pretty good in the first few badges, but I'm just gonna lower its defense and just gonna go to town. Unfortunately, we don't have a stat raising move to utilize Power Trip yet, and if you just use Power Trip without raising your stats at 20 damage, it's hardly gonna do anything. So we have to kind of wait on that, which is fine because Peck is a very good move to start out with. So Sari is getting a little beat up here, and it doesn't help that Choodles got pretty good defenses overall, but we were faster and we pulled out in the end, so no big deal. And that's Sari's first battle. I'll be going through the text and story very quickly, and in a lot of parts I'll just skip the story entirely. And that's why I'm saying that if you haven't played through Sword and Shield or you want to go spoiler free, it's 2020 now. I mean, if you haven't seen this yet, I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, we're not gonna go into those kind of details unless I really want to look at it. Because this gameplay, because I'm trying to get to the expansion pass DLC, is gonna be pretty quick. I'm gonna be pushing things pretty quickly. Okay, so it was Hop. Why did I forget Hop? Hop, dude. Okay. Fortunately, while the last opponent's Choodle was a challenging opponent to face for Sari, Blipbug will be much easier. Yeah, no problem. No problem. And Strugglebug will lower our special attack, but Sari doesn't even have any special attacks right now. So easy W. Easy W. Our second Pokemon. Oh, here we go. Hone Claws. So I probably should explain this while we're still fighting. Hone Claws raises your attack and accuracy by 1 every time you use it. So if you're talking in terms of Power Trip, that means technically speaking, you've raised 2 stats once. So that means it will jump, if my math is correct, the power of the move will jump from 20 to 60 in just one move. And if you use Hone Claws twice, then it'll jump to 80 or 100. So, in other words, you have to really have to use Hone Claws to make that move work. But trust me, I'm gonna make it work. So, 420, yeah. Alright, and here's Hop. There's a lot of dialogue up ahead, but I didn't want to bother with it because it's just like world building dialogue and I don't really care. I do try to fish multiple times in this gameplay, but every time I did it I didn't find anything useful, which is unfortunate because starting with a fire starter. Eventually I'm going to need a water type Pokemon. Eventually. I'm really gonna need one. But Magikarp is not a good Pokemon to start with. It'll take too long to train, and it'll be useless. So, well, until it's a Gyarados, of course, but... We're gonna snatch this item. You didn't see it, but I did. Alright, and so we have our second rival battle with Hop, this time. His team hasn't changed very much, except he's added a Pokemon. So, let's rock and roll. So, to start off, we are going to use... Well, he always starts off with Wooloo. That's just kind of his thing. We're going to start off with Sayori, and just like previously discussed, I'm going to be using the Power Trip strategy. So, first things first, we're going to use Hone Claws. And now, that's +1 for accuracy and attack. Wooloo's going to go ahead and hit us. And we're going to use Hone Claws again. So we want to get our move as strong as we can, basically. So, after the stat raising, Sayori has lost about a third of her health. But it's not going to... Oh, I went even further. Okay, so we are going to have an enormous stat boost. And I always liked Hone Claws because now my accuracy is also very high, so it means I'm not going to be missing very many moves. So here goes Power Trip with +3 attack. Beautiful. Easy. Easy. Nice strong dark move when you got the stats raised. Got Grookey, but we're a flying type, so that's not a big deal. Out of all the 3 starters, Grookey is my least favorite. So it's just coincidental that I chose Scorbunny this time and I'm facing against my least favorite. Interestingly, it was faster than me. I'm not saying like that Sayori is like super fast, that's not necessarily true. But most flying type Pokemon, especially most like starter bird Pokemon you see on the first few routes, like we got on Route 2 here, are fast. So I don't think Sayori and her evolutions necessarily follow that trend, though. Of course, Corsair and Corviknight. This will be a close one. That's exactly my kind of match. He sends out his Rookidee, which is weaker than mine by 5 levels. I decided to style on him a little bit by raising my Hone Claws again, which means now it's up by 4. Which means pretty much any attack I'm going to use is going to wipe this Rookidee out. But I will give it to him, he did catch another Pokemon, so that's good for him, right? Alright, so second rival battle was not too bad. Not too bad. Kiku also got a level up. And that's our second rival battle with Hop. So, we're going to move along. We have to move to the next location. And I saw Hop sneaking towards the station. So, okay, I think it's really weird that the male character kneels when he's talking to Pokemon that are small. I'm used to, in my previous 2 gameplays, I used the female characters, and the female character kind of bends down from the hips, but the male character just kneels. It is the weirdest thing. It's like he's kneeling down to him. Alright, and so Hop, doesn't matter if you've caught Pokemon or not, he gives you the team for Swift, which I always like Swift. Mostly because it doesn't miss. Swift is a special attack though, not a physical attack, so don't forget that. I thought there might be something over here, but there is not. So we're going to move on to the next area. I'm skipping some more stuff here. It's interesting, there's a swine up here when they appear much later in the game. Like at the very end of the game, basically. Alright, and this is the station where we get off into the wild area. So that's exciting. A lot to see and do in the wild area all the time. Conditions in the wild area were really hot and really sunny and then snowy. So kind of strange conditions right off the bat. I think the snow condition is pretty common though. It's interesting, this lady here at the front heals your Pokemon. I often forget she's there, to be honest. Alright. So I kind of sneaked around a little bit to look, and I'm going to skip a cutscene here because I don't really want to bother with it. I am going to bother with Sonia's cutscene though because it has one important bit to it. She gets rejected by her parent and has to go on her own, and then I always liked how she twirls her hair like that. It's funny. Alright. She's going to give us an incredibly important item. Very important. She gives us the... Just wait for it. Yes, the Pokemon Box Link. The Pokemon Box Link is great because it allows us to put Pokemon in anywhere. You don't have to go to a Pokemon Center to do it. So, always like that. Alright, so here's the wild area. If you've played through Sword and Shield or watched other people see it, I'm sure you're familiar. I'm kind of playing around with Sonia here a little bit. You know, is it like a 10-year-old? He's really short. And that's one thing, like, they often smile when you get close to them. I think it's kind of a cute touch, but... let's see. I'm being an idiot here. Okay, well, I think she's a good head taller than me. She must be. Anyway. So, I believe, yes, we're going to speed it up here by 5 times. So, this will now be significantly faster. Pokemon Trainer Group. There wasn't any Pokemon that were too interesting, unfortunately. One of the big problems with the wild area when you first get to it, like initially, without any badges, is it's really difficult to catch Pokemon here when it first starts out. You can only catch Pokemon like the first few areas, like near the train station. And if you don't catch them near the train station, well, they're too strong to be caught. So we're just kind of inspecting the area. This is a snowy climate right now. Not too many Pokemon were interesting here in the snowy climate. I kind of wanted a Duskull, so I was looking around for a Duskull. I think I'll come back to it. We're just, like I said, we're just kind of scouring the area to see what we can find. When you don't have the bicycle, everything takes a lot longer. So we found a Duskull, let's check it out. Uh-oh. Very strong Duskull. And it is level 26. Level 26. We are level 10, like level 12. We cannot possibly catch that Pokemon, so we have to wait and come back later. Which sucks, but you know, that's just how it is. I tried fishing again, but the only thing I can find right now is Magikarp. And I inspected this area. I kind of thought about getting the donkey Pokemon. I'm sorry, I'm just terrible with names. I forget names all the time. I have bad memory. But We also collected some items from these people. If you give them your watts, they will, they'll give you an item you can sell for money, basically. And so I went around again, just making sure I found everything. I thought about various Pokemon I could catch, but I didn't actually end up catching anything. I found a Snorunt, but it was level 14, so I didn't think I'd be able to catch it. This lady gave us a Pearl String. Pearl Strings are worth 10,000 Pokédollars, which is pretty great. And then the big pearls are also worth quite a lot. So that's why you need to talk to those people. So, all said and done, not very much happened. We just kind of collected stuff to sell. And now we're in Motostoke. I'm sure a lot of people just head directly to Motostoke, but I like to look around the wild area before, so there's always a lot to do here, so I'll be skipping around and fast forwarding because there's a lot of stuff that happens. Our primary thing to do right now is to go to the Motostoke Stadium, but I won't be doing that immediately, I can already tell you that. I thought I could talk to this Mincino, but I'm not able to do that actually. I don't know why. Normally you're able to talk to the Pokemon, but for some reason it just triggers talking to the parent or the kid that owned the Mincino, which is kind of weird. So, I'm gonna skip this brief bit. The cards are kind of, I don't like it. For multiplayer they're nice, but for like in-game it's not really that important unless you just kind of wanted to build the world a little bit. I think for younger kids it would actually be more exciting, probably. Okay, I'm gonna save just to be cautious here. And at this point I actually took a break and came back because I had already been playing for like an hour or so. So we came back and now we're going to play for a much longer session, so gonna heal up because technically Scorbunny was not at full health, and we'll move Keku and Sayori out. And then I was informed you can find a rare Pokemon at the Wedgehurst Station, which is the station that we just left from. The Wedgehurst Station has a Pokemon that appears there, and if you've played the game like through recently, you should know what I'm talking about. But before I go to the Motostoke Stadium, I'm actually going to take care of some business here and over at the Wedgehurst Station first, because basically, for a basic explanation, and look how she struts. Alright. For a more basic explanation, every time that you go to the Pokemon Center to heal your Pokemon, if you haven't gone to the Wedgehurst Station yet, they will just keep asking you to go to the Wedgehurst Station and to find the Pokemon there. They will do this until you beat the game. It just keeps going, and it never stops. And it's very annoying. So, I was like, I am not going through this again, because I've already had a playthrough where I just kind of cooperated with it, and I didn't like it at all. So we got the high-tech earbuds. You should always get these if you're playing this game. So it allows you to customize your sound. And I believe that will set us off towards Wedgehurst, which means we have to walk back on foot through the wild area. Oh, but wait. I think I'll check this out first. Whoop. I walked out, but then I noticed that Sonia was in here. Okay. So, I skipped the part where I was walking back. Save some time for both of us. And we are going to sell stuff here at the mart. It's kind of weird that the train stations have marts, but it's whatever, you know? So, 10,000 for the pearl string, and 8,000 for 2 big pearls is pretty good for early game, and 2,500 for the mushroom. That's a lot of money, considering I haven't even gotten the badge yet. So, to the Wetcher station we go. And we have the relation to the Isle of Armor thing, where they was talking about the armor pass. And I don't remember the name of this girl. But she is definitely a part of the DLC, and she will appear later. So we have this pesty Slowpoke. In general, I like Slowpokes, don't get me wrong. I love Slowbro. But the experience that I'm about to go through is so horrible, I don't ever want to have to do it again. So, okay, so we have to catch this Slowpoke. He says, you're a Pokemon trainer. If the Slowpoke blocks a gate, they get in the way, they're pretty heavy, so can you catch it for me? And this ensued a long, painful battle of trying to catch this Slowpoke. Now, something to consider, Slowpoke has pretty good defense for Pokemon of its level, because Slowbro also has good defense. And so, it doesn't matter what kind of physical move I'm going to use, it will do not very much damage. So, I tried to use the dark type move, but then it put me to sleep, and I tried to raise my stats, but then it's a nightmare. It really is. Every time I raise my stats, it lowers it with Growl, and every time I'm starting to make progress, it puts me to sleep. So, and then it'll hit pretty hard with Tackle, and if it uses Confusion, it'll do a ton of damage. Doesn't matter if it's Sayuri or Kiku, it'll do a ton of damage. So this thing was a serious problem, and it was also resisting catching pretty well, which surprised me. I didn't think it would be so difficult to catch, but as you're going to see, it was quite difficult to catch, and so it fainted Sayuri, which was unfortunate. And now I had to send in Kiku. Luckily this is Galarian Slowpoke. It's just a psychic type, it doesn't have water type. So it doesn't have any water type moves either. So it doesn't know Water Gun, so but as you can see, Confusion does a lot of damage. And so I have to awkwardly just keep healing and throwing balls, healing and throwing balls. And then it decided to use Rion again to put me to sleep. What a nightmare. I was able to tackle it to get it a little bit weaker, but I think in retrospect I should have had like a status move to make this easier. Because this is just, look at this. It's getting to the point where it's getting ridiculous. It's already faded one of my Pokemon. I've used, how many balls now? I've used like 8 balls. It's just so resistant to being caught. I don't know why. Why is it so resistant? Okay, 6 balls, my mistake. But still, I can't really wake up now because I'm throwing balls. So I'm kind of in an awkward position where I have to heal a Pokemon that's asleep that will not wake up on the turn that you use it. I can't attack the Slowpoke. I don't know if fainting it will do anything for me. So just to be safe, even though it's hard, I'm going to catch it. And as you see, Confusion, every time he uses it, does a large chunk of damage, which is just horrible. So this whole thing was just horrible. I hated every second of it. And this game just keeps surprising me. You know, it's a Pokemon thing when you play it through one time and it's easy, and then you play through it again, and in other ways it's much more difficult. And so, as you can see, the Slowpoke is still being a bug to catch. And I have to keep using up so many potions to just stay alive. If I fainted, I would have to go all the way back to Motostoke, and I don't want to do that. Notice I didn't save beforehand either. So, it's just a horrible situation, it really is. And after a lot of effort, through this 15th Pokeball, 15th, we had 30, we're down to 15 now, and we finally got the stupid Slowpoke. Oh my gosh. For some reason I named it off of the Chad meme, but I don't really want to use it because I had such a bad experience with it. And this lady is going to commend us. It's important to remember her because in the future we will see her again. So I will see you again, and I probably will have to fight her too if I remember correctly. So anyway, that's that long chapter done. We're going to go back to Motostoke, and we're in the hotel now in preparation for the Motostoke Stadium's events. Now, if you've played this game before, you will know that there is some battles coming up here that we have to move these grunts out of the way. So, just to be safe, I need to give my Pokemon some items. I'm going to give this charcoal to Kiku, and then give Sayri a Oran Berry, because for my stat boosting strategy to work, I need to keep Sayri alive, basically. So, it's always a good idea to do some pre-battle preparation. Also going to teach Swift to, okay, well, that's kind of a weird thing. If you do it in this small little mini menu, you can't use TMs on all of the Pokemon in your party, but if you go to the bag, and then you use the TMs, then you can apply it to the entire party. It's kind of a weird UI thing. I don't know why that happens. So, because Scorbunny Kiku has higher special attack than attack, I decided to teach it Swift. It's a useful move sometimes when your accuracy is low. And we're gonna have to fight T-Meal to get through to where we're going. This is kind of annoying because it's one of the back-to-back battles where you don't get a break in between. So, luckily they only have one Pokemon each, but... So, we're just gonna keep leveling up Sayri because we need to keep her strong. Luckily, we're a decent lead ahead of them, so... Let's start with Valier to weaken his defenses. Now this scared me that he started using Lick. Normally it wouldn't affect most bird Pokemon because they're part normal, and Lick is a ghost type move that doesn't affect normals. But Sayri is actually a pure flying type, which is quite unusual. Throughout all the generations of Pokemon, this is the first flying type Pokemon that's available in the first few routes that is a pure flying type. It's not the very first pure flying type. That honor goes to a particular legendary Pokemon from Gen 5, but it's still quite interesting because it means that it doesn't have the normal type immunities or anything like that. I don't think being normal type really adds much though to it either. It just kind of gives it normal type stab. Anyway, I'm rattling off. So we beat this first member, but like I said, we have to fight another Team Yell member right afterwards, which is annoying. See, we don't get a break. So the first one had a zigzag and the second one had a Nickit. Nickit just disappoints me, honestly. Nickit and its evolution Devil are just, they're bad. They're just really bad. I don't know how to put it the other way. They're just really, not very good Pokemon. So, sorry if I offended you, but yeah, they're just not very good. So, yeah, we're just gonna peck away here. As you can see, even with just one stat raise, that's doing more than half damage because it has terrible differences. And it goes down easily. And so, we are able to move on to the last battle of this troublesome group. Hop joins us. He heals us, which is very helpful. And then we fight off 2v2 in a double battle. So, with Hop, it is a bit easier, of course. And it's the same Pokemon as before. Only this time we have a Wooloo on our side. Wooloo's nice whenever he sends it out on double battles because it's really bulky. It can take a lot of hits. I'm just going to use the same strategy as before, raise my stats, and then just go to town. It's interesting to use a Snarl here, and that lowered my special attack, but like I said before, Sari doesn't have any special attacks, so it doesn't matter. And we're going to do pretty much the same thing we did to the Nickit from just the last battle ago, and we're just going to pick it twice until it's fainted, pretty much. It's going to use Tail Whip on me, and so that's a little bit scary. And the Nickit decides to use one quick attack before it's done, and my Peck will take it out. Take it out like the trash it is. And then we just have this lone Zigzagoon, which will be quickly handled by his Wooloo. Perfect. So, that was them out of the way. Quite the annoyance, but it's just something you have to do when you're going through this hotel. I went ahead and kept the Marnie cutscene in because it's really good. Look how cute her, why am I forgetting the name of her Pikachu lookalike? Her Pokemon is so cute. I always liked it. So we've dispersed the Team Yell members, and they got a bit shirty. I still wonder what shirty means. It must be just like combative, I guess. And so we've done that, and let's go ahead and move on. I'm gonna take some pictures of Bea, and then we're going to move on after the ceremony. I didn't include the ceremony mostly because it's really boring. So we're going to just completely skip that. I'm going to explore the city, and I actually didn't know this was here. There's a nugget hiding in this corner, and that could get you a lot of money. And then I'm going to go in here, swoop, and we got a new hairstyle. Check it out. And we're still exploring. These kids had a quest where you had to find an Encino, but I don't know where it is, and I don't really have time to bother. Gonna sell the nugget. There's some TMs here, but they are all like defensive status TMs that I don't really need yet. So that'll just have to wait. And now Hop's ready for another battle. Another battle. So he throws out his Wooloo again. You think he would have learned by now, right? He just does the same thing every time. And so I'm just going to own him the same way I did last time. I'm going to raise my stats up again. I mean, his Pokemon are stronger, and it's actually the same level. And as you can see, this time Power Trip did not faint in one hit, but it did second time, so it was a 2-hit KO. I had the option to learn Fury Attack, and I thought about it, but I was like, it's probably not worth it. On the other hand, Kiku was learning Double Kick, and that was nice. Double Kick is a nice move. The Grookey sped me again, unbelievably. I thought it would land a hit there, and I did land a critical hit, but it wasn't enough to faint Grookey either. So, it's just a war of attrition here. He used Taunt. I couldn't believe it when he did. I was like, dude, I'm hitting you right now. You can't taunt me. So, yeah, that wasn't the smartest move on his hand. And Sabri, her accuracy is up, but her attack is not, because it was lowered. So it's safer just to go with Kiku and finish it off from there. Sometimes it's smarter just to play more conservative. Mistake. And we're just gonna hammer it with Embers until it faints. And Swift for a nice little touch at the end. And easy. So Hop was defeated for the third time. We're gonna move on to the next route. And there are a lot of trainers in this route. To be honest, I didn't want to bother with all of them, so I actually didn't fight all of them. But we're gonna at least fight this trainer because she's in the way. I sent out Kiku for this. You may start noticing here that one drawback to these Pokemon, both Siri and Kiku, Rookidee and Scorbunny, respectively, is that their defenses, both special defense and defense, are not that great. I would say they're lacking even. So, I was definitely adamant about getting them leveled up to fight and get stronger. You know, typical Pokemon stuff. And I looked around here for a little while to see if there's any Pokemon that would be worth catching. I do not want a Gossifleur because I know that happens. I did think about Stunky, and I didn't know that Pancham was here. Pancham is interesting, and I actually did think about catching one earlier. You may have seen me engage one in the wild area. But it's not really the fighting type Pokemon that I wanted to catch either. So, you know, we'll just move on from that. We have to fight this trainer because she's blocking the path. Very cute trainer, I will add. We're going to have to use Sari for this because it's a fighting type. But then it threw me out. I couldn't believe it. I just threw in my type effective Pokemon and it threw me out. So I started just Embering, and I got lucky with a high roll there. Pretty high roll anyway. And so Cutie is done. And we are going to heal. I decided to actually, you know what, let's go a step further and heal the Oranberry too. Gonna explore some more. Burn heal. I'm gonna try to get past this guy, but I didn't get past the Zigzagoon. Freaking Zigzagoon, man. I was angry at it, so I kicked it. So, but we need the experience. Alright, so we're gonna have a brief talk with Sonia here. it's nothing important really. I never use escape ropes, I typically sell them. There's very few places in the game where you even need to use them. And yeah, we're gonna keep moving. I wanted to check the, there's a Pokemon that I was thinking about and it wasn't nearby, so I just kind of gave up on that. And I managed to sneak by this kid. I don't even know how I did it, to be honest. Noticed she was looking away. And I'm gonna get the berries out of the tree. I got 11 of them, which is quite a harvest. And then we are going to sneak past this guy. We have to fight this trainer that's coming up because there's no way to sneak past him. So you guess you could call him the essential trainer. Alright, so I started off with Sayri this time. And I guess this kid's using bug type Pokemon. So with this Sizzlipede. Sizzlipede is interesting for a lot of reasons. Being a bug fire type. Not the first time there's been a bug fire type, but it's still very unique typing. It hits me with an Ember, and look how much damage this does. It does a solid 13, 12 damage. Which is a lot, considering I'm higher level than it. And so I immediately considered it a threat, and I just wanted to take care of it. So we lowered its defense, and we're just going to start assaulting it with Pex. It hit me with a Wrap, which was kind of a weird move to use for this. And it just lowered my health a little bit more. Wrap doesn't have a residual effect after the Pokemon has been fainted up. So once I get rid of him, I won't have to worry about Wrap anymore. So Sayri is on low health, only 6 HP. And let's see what his next Pokemon is. Oh no. This is not a good matchup. Alright, so do you know anything about Dottler? It is a bug psychic type that has very good defenses. And on top of it, it has dual screen, so it has light screen and reflect, which it's going to use in this battle. So, yes, this is a dangerous situation. Quite dangerous situation, as you're about to see. It brings out its psychic type move, and Confusion does a lot of damage. For some reason, every time I fight fighting type or psychic type Pokemon, I'm just in a bad pickle. So we send out Kickle, or Kiku, Kickle, jeez. Okay, Kiku, and notice that the Dottler used light screen, and so now Ember is not going to do very much, and it's resisting my attacks. See? Pitiful damage. Horrible, really, considering it's super effective. So this thing is just nightmarish. It got a critical hit on me. So, this is a difficult Pokemon to face, and we're just going to have to struggle through this as it's using Struggle Bug on me. It got another critical hit. That's 2 in a row. And now my special attack is so low it's not going to do anything. So we are in a really bad position here. This Dottler is owning us right now. And every time it uses Confusion, it does a substantial amount of damage. I decided to go for Ember and just cancel and walk out. This is a competitive strategy. Just let him faint and have a clean switch in. Cause this is just so dangerous. It really is. So we send out Sayri, who I healed up, while Kiku is taking damage. And Sayri thankfully uses physical attacks, not special ones. But it still wasn't enough to take out the Dottler. this thing is a menace. So, it's already taken out Kiku, which I honestly didn't expect it to, but it was so resistant with its special defense that it just wouldn't die. So, sheesh, after that, my team was pretty beat up, and Schoolboy Peter's team was a lot tougher than I anticipated. A lot tougher. So yeah, I keep having trouble with psychic types. But I knew that there's a person right here at the gate that heals your team, so at least we don't have to walk back to the Pokemon Center. That is a nice thing. So, excuse me. We're going to enter this mine here. And I've skipped a few parts of this, but one thing I quickly learned here, as you can see with this Rabugola, is we have two Pokemon that are weak to rock types. So this puts them in a bad position as well. So we don't have a really good way to fight this thing. The only thing I can do is just keep using Double Kick. But its weak armor went against it and lowered its defense to the point where it couldn't fight anymore, which is pretty convenient if you ask me. But this is the least of what's the worst is to come. Because Worker Georgia has so far in the run become the most difficult fight to date. And I don't say that without any... She was so difficult. She has three Timbers. They all know fighting type moves, and unfortunately, they all know Rock Throw. Because Timber and its evolutions all learn Rock type moves. So it has a type advantage on us with its moves. And it doesn't matter if I'm using Kiku or Sayri, they're going to take a lot of damage. So this is just a really, really bad situation. I got lucky there because it burned. I think it may have had guts in retrospective. But so that's Timber 1. This is why I was saying this is a horrible battle. We got a crit there, which is really lucky. At this point, we're in overheat range, I think. So, Kiku just really persisted through, even though this was a difficult fight. And we had to kind of take a risk here with the Rock Throw, but it worked out because they used Pound. And then we're going to hit it with a Pluck. That almost faints it. It uses Low Kick, which is not enough. Should have used Rock Throw. And that menace of a fight was done. If I was not careful, I could have very easily lost that battle. Very easily. By far, that was just... that fight was so stressful for no reason. Alright, so we got our TM here. Speaking of Timber, they happen to appear in this cave. And I knew I needed a fighting type, and I also have been thinking about Conkeldurr lately. Gonna head back and heal up our Pokemon really quickly. Notice the, not shiny, I don't want to say shiny. Rockingola, because that's not correct. It's stat. If it's got that light around it, that means its stats are higher than normal. Or its EVs are higher than normal. Whatever. So we're looking for a Timber right now. We want to see what we can get. I have to fight this worker and get behind her, so she's in the way. I can't not sneak past her. I have to. Oh, I turned that really weird, sorry. I have to fight her, let's just put it that way. And then she thankfully only had a Diglett and a Drillbur, so it wasn't that hard. But we've managed to level up Kiku, and now Kiku is going to evolve, which was really needed, because Scorbunny is cute, but it's really weak. And now we have a Raboot. I always liked Raboot's design, it's cool. Thick and fluffy fur protects it from the cold and makes its fire more powerful. So I always like those kind of details. So now with Rowboot, we'll have a nice advantage. I'm going to go back to heal again, because that free healing is just too useful. Just too useful. And we're going to head back in and look for a timber like I had originally set out to do. Now there is Woobats here, but I didn't really want to catch a Woobat because I already had a flying type. So unfortunately ran into this Diglett here. But we're just gonna go on by. I did think about catching a Dugtrio or a Diglett to evolve into a Dugtrio, but I didn't end up doing it because Dugtrio is just really frail, so I don't think it would be a smart move. Okay, so we found a timber. Found a timber, so technically speaking, and based off the old battle that we just had, our Pokemon are weak to timber. There's no question about that. So we have to be careful if you're fighting it. So, first timber. Let's see how this turns out. I'm going to use Pluck on it because I know Pluck won't faint it. Timber's got pretty good defenses, so it can take a hit, definitely. It did pretty good damage, but not enough to faint it. Sari avoided the attack, which was pretty slick, if you ask me. I decided to use Power Trip, but because it's only got 20 attack, and it's resisted by Timber's fighting type, it didn't do much at all. So, yeah, I'm just gonna chance it, and we're gonna use one of the Great Balls that we found laying around to catch this Timber. This is a pretty useful Pokemon to have. So, and we caught it first ball, so that's pretty good. So let's see what this timber is like. Sari also leveled up. It loves helping me out with construction projects. It loves it so much that if it rains, causes works to halt, it'll throw a tantrum. So, I didn't know what to name this thing. I didn't know what to name this thing, so I just named it Chunk. It's Chunk. So we added Chunk to the party. If I don't know if I really want to keep a Timber in the party. I checked out his ability. It was not good, as you just saw. Chunk had a special attack raising ability, but it lowered its attack, and this is a Pokemon that needs attack, so that was just unfortunate, which means I'm going to have to catch another Timber. I didn't really want to have to do it either, but so here's another Timber. And we're going to basically use the same catching strategy as we did last time to catch this next one. Like I said, I didn't want to reject it, but that stat distribution was just awful. Just awful. So it decided to use Focus Energy, which will raise its crit rate by like 2.75, I don't remember exactly the ratio. I'm going to use Hone Claws to raise the power of my Dark type attack, because I need to weaken it some more. Timber decided to use Rock Throw. It did hit this time, and it did crit this time. So we got pretty unlucky there, unfortunately. Now Sari is kind of weak, so be careful. Timber uses Leer and makes us even weaker. So Sari is in a terrible position. I'm going to use a Heal Ball this time because I wanted to be able to use this Pokemon immediately at full health. And the heal ball did work, so, you know, commendable. It's honestly amazing Sari didn't get fainted by this. So our second Timber, we will just call... we will call you V... I ever tell you I'm horrible at naming things. I am awful at naming things. V-Body. V-Body. Why did I name it this? Because it's shot. The shape of its body is like V-shaped, like a bodybuilder. But in retrospect, it was really stupid. Okay, so it has a really good nature. It had an attack boosting nature that lowered its speed, but it's already a slow Pokemon, so that didn't matter. So we have another rival fight here. But this time I'm going to use the old Sari strategy for this. Sari will have a decent advantage against these psychic types. I'm going to give it the Oran Berry, just like the strategy that I used in the hotel. And let's go ahead and face him. He's kind of weird because he gives you a warning first, and then when you get close to him, you'll fight him. So, we're gonna fight Kirby here and take out his Pokemon. He sends out his Solosis, which is the Pokemon he starts with every time. I'm going to first raise my attack with Foam Claws. He uses Confusion, but because I planned ahead with the Oran Berry, I gain back my health. I'm going to use Hone Claws again, just to be strong enough. He uses Confusion again. I'm lucky I didn't get confused here. And I'm gonna start Power Tripping. Now, I have a even bigger advantage because Power Trip is not only at a higher strength, but it's super effective too. So, for his Psychic type Pokemon, there's not much he can do really. And it's fortunate that my Pokemon was faster than his as well. So, Sari got an easy, quick victory on Kirby here, and we will just move on by. I do like beating him up, I really do. Alright, and so we have a bag of Stardust, and we are getting out of here. Get me out of here with all these Rock-type Pokemon. It's too dangerous for our team. So, we are on Route 4 now. There is quite a lot of Pokemon you can catch here. I decided one Pokemon I knew I wanted to get right away. I don't know how familiar you are with Galarian Meowth. Galarian Meowth is a pure Steel type. They are very common on this route, and they are also pretty common in other routes. And we found a Wooloo first, but I didn't want a Wooloo. I tried to be sassy and give it a low kick, but it wasn't strong enough. And I was actually surprised how many Pokemon were here. So here is our first Galarian Meowth. I knew I wanted to try it because I was interested in Berserker, which is its evolution. And so we're gonna catch this Pokemon. It's a surprisingly difficult Pokemon to whittle down. Its defenses and typing make it much tougher than it looks, which is interesting. It's giving me V-Body trouble, which is saying a lot, so... Like I said, I probably will change the name to V-Body if I use it. It's just a weird name. No matter how you put it, it's just a weird name, and I regretted it already. Alright, so, Great Bell. And 1 ball catch. Nice. Clean catch. That is always a good thing. Sayori leveled up again to level 18. And coincidentally, this is the level that it evolves. So, we're going to say goodbye to its small burb form. And it's going to evolve into Corvisquire. Corvisquire, it must be. And it says, it uses tools in battles, it picks up rocks or ropes to fight, which is kind of cool. And then we have our new Galarian Meowth. It basically just says that its body turned into iron, and so it's partially steel. Or, no, it is steel. My mistake. I just was like kind of done with this gameplay for today, and so I just named it Massive Dub. Massive Dub. I don't know, it's just the first thing that came to mind. And for the remainder of the time that I was playing, oh yes, Massive Dub had a defense boosting nature and pickup. Pickup is pretty nice. It came with Metal Claw, which is good. Metal Claw was a nice, strong stab move to have with it. And we are actually going to put V-Body in the box for now. Like I said, I wasn't entirely certain if I wanted to use it. However, we're going to release the one that we didn't like, so goodbye, Chunk. Don't need you. And for the remainder of this gameplay, I decided to search Route 4 for any interesting Pokemon. I also checked out Sayori now that she's evolved and gotten a big power boost, of course. Now with Raboot and an evolved Sayori, we have much stronger team, which is good. I'm gonna go to the mart, and at this point we're going to save, because I wasn't making any progress catching Pokemon. So, this is Yort, 1781987. I will look forward to seeing you next time in the next gameplay. And thank you for watching.